Hey everyone, we're live on YouTube. How is everyone doing this morning? Dang, there we go, it's fixed itself. Let's see, what is there to do today? Maybe we'll do some coding, but if you're here in the chat, say hey. Mewbot is here. No, let's give out some points. Surely someone, should we give out points? Should we give out points? You know what, I should memorize the points command. What's up, Kayla? So good to see you here. Ask any question you want. Good to see you here, Sarah. Let's see. I gotta memorize the command. That way I can type it so I don't have to keep like looking it up. It's like exclamation mark points plus add plus viewers. Let's go 40 points. Why not? People are always, let's see, does this work? Boom, that's it. I've seen it, like my brain was like, I know the structure of it. Let's try something out. Can we do, see, so here, wait, I'm gonna try something. Ready? It was a bad idea. We're gonna try something interesting right here. Because I can only do this on live streams. Okay. Don't leave, well, I mean, let's see what this does. Let's see if this does it. Let's see if this works. Evil Mewbot's gonna do that. He's gonna remove like 1 point from people one of these days. Let me give those points back. Gotta practice typing it. What's up, Alexander? So good to see you here. Let me edit. Alexander, you might have appeared at that exact moment. Okay. I should say your points. There we go, Mewbot. I gave them back. There we go. Sarah, I gave them back. But we got to have Evil Mewbot do that at some point. Ask questions if you have it. Right now, I'm just kind of learning how to stream stuff because you just got to practice these things and be like, okay, this how it is. I got to fix my background. For some reason, it's been a little jumpy. It's a big video file. So there we go. We gave out some points there. Let's see. It should work. What do you guys think of the whole Mewbot thing with Mewbot existing? Let's hop over to Mewbot here. He's currently away. I mean, he's currently good Mewbot. What do you guys think about Mewbot? What do you guys think about this whole new thing we're working out this semester with Mewbot? This is kind of just talking about class. Like, if you have questions about Visualization 1, Visualization 2, coding in 320, let me know. Because we should have... See, I got to hit the boss voice button. Voice 5. So when I switch over to the boss right here, it's got to be like...
And then you appear with Evil Mewbot.
So, but there's an issue with the return right now that I haven't fixed. You guys can see... Well, you can't see the structure of this. Boss... Return... I think you see me for a second. You see... So there should be the flash. The flash should have a... Oh, no, that looked right, right? Maybe it's working properly. Maybe I fixed it and don't remember fixing it. Anyways, let's go back to space. Okay, so what are we working on? We'll get serious here. We had our fun. We had our 3 minutes of fun. Fun's over. I think we got 201 here. We could talk some 201 topics. We could talk like what we're going to talk about next class. So we could get like a head start on learning the material. Whatever you want with this officers. What do people want to do? I'm trying to think. Kayla, are you 320? I think Sarah's 201. Alexander's 201. This background's having major problems. Let me reload the background. 320. I knew it, Kayla. I was like, I think Kayla's 320. New background. New ideas, August. I'm just reloading the background. Because I think the other one has problems. I could switch that other one. Using hardware decoding when available. Let's see if that helps, or if it like destroys the stream. I've already turned it in, but I have a question now on how you want us to do our write-ups for visualizations 1 and 2. Great questions. Let's hop over and just talk about that. Great questions to start the day. Okay, write-ups. Okay, so I think I know all of them. Like, I'm going to go off of memory right here. Let's see if the hardware thing helps. I'll probably look at the stream later and be like, did that help? Okay. So this is concerning write-ups for visualizations 1 and 2. So I oftentimes put these right here so I can remember what I talk about. Visualization write-ups. Okay. So when you do the visualization write-ups, what you're trying to do is you're trying to basically write a statistical report that anyone could read. So you don't want to use statistical jargon like the p-value is the probability of our results from our stream having a random chance variation given that the null is true. People are going to be like, what are you talking about? What the heck is that? So the first visualization, luckily, has very easy stuff for it. Visualization 1. There's no write-up. Visualization 1, you're just putting your name in it. So, we don't want to see someone else's name in it. You're just going to put at the top of it like Brian Stevens. You're just going to put that. That's fine. So here's a big thing also. With visualization 1, I think the only thing people are going to lose points on is their screenshots. When you take a screenshot for visualization 1, it should look something like this. This might even be the right data set. You don't want to do something like this. Don't do that. Don't do that. So if you need to resubmit, just let me know. I mean, you can resubmit. They grade the latest one. You want something like this right here. This is kind of how visualization 1's going to look. No one's going to complain. I caught a tiny bit of the top of the screen, but you could always crop in Word, and so you could go there and take that little bit off. So now it's a perfect screenshot. The key elements that they're going to be looking for in your screenshot are 1, that you don't have any extra stuff on the outside. So don't have any extra, your screen, things we don't need to see. It should be very clear to see that you have the 765, and I think there's 5 columns. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think you have 5 variables, which are just the 5 informations we collected on. So if you're thinking about how will this be graded, and it's kind of good as we get close to visualizations. If you attend these streams, you're like, Brian, how are they graded? They're just doing this right here. Did you put your name? Did you not put any extra stuff on the outside of it? Did you get the 5 columns? Did you take a right sample size? So this is how they will be graded right here. Good to see you here, Sarah. Now, when it comes to visualization 2, there's more stuff to talk about. So that's visualization 1. Okay. We just want to erase it then. We'll just Command Z. Take that. Can't beat Command Z. Visualization 2. I'm losing my mind slowly. With visualization 2, there is a bar chart, there is a pie chart, and there is a histogram. Now, with these graphics, it's important to understand what are these graphics. They're all univariate. So every one of these graphics are univariate displays of data, which means they display one variable. So univariate displays of data. So a pie chart is categorical, and you can make a pie of charted fair bars and a bar charted fair pies, and a histogram is quantitative. It's important that you could probably draw little, miniature versions of these. So let's go over here and zoom in and draw a little mini version of these. A bar chart is just going to look like bars. They usually have separation between them because they have the category names below them. So that's what bar charts look like. A pie chart is going to just be a pie, and it's going to show you the percentage for each one. And then a histogram is going to look like a bar chart, but they don't put separation because there's a number line on it. So if you can draw little miniature versions of these, you've got a decent understanding of what they are. Like you can be like, oh, a bar chart, you can just put categories into each bar. That's what it does. It just does a count or frequency or relative frequency of the count of each observation. And a pie chart's same sort of graphical display. It just puts each frequency of the pie into each group. So try to talk through these, try to draw them out, try to understand what's going on. The histogram is different because it's quantitative, so it has a numeric number line where you could ask someone what was their grade on the test. And the center of this distribution looks to be about 50. Let's not hope that's our test, but we understand what's going on here. Now, when you're doing this write-up, the big thing, I have to say this. Mention numbers in your write-up. Morning, Adam. Good to see you here. Good to see you, Adam. We found out this morning that Evil Mubot can take points from people. Watch out. He'll do it eventually. Let's add in 5 points. So plus exclamation mark points, add viewers. I'm practicing this. Brian, you should practice adding points again. Keep practicing adding points, Brian. I was copy pasting the command before, but I just have to remember the arguments in the command. The command is add points, and then the command is points, or function, I should say, for like 320. The function is points, and the arguments are, the first argument is what do you want to do? The second argument is who to, and then the third argument is how much. So there's 3 arguments, and it's got to put that in my head that there's 3 arguments that I'm using. So Sarah approves of the adding of the points. So with this right here, when you get to the bar chart, you want to, I'm lagging a bit, so I'll talk to you. Oh, cool. Awesome, Alexander. With the bar chart, you want to mention the categories. I think it says, we could specifically look, it doesn't hurt to actually look at it. So let's go grab the visualization 2 section. If you have questions, let me know, because Alexander chose, let's talk about this right here. So create a bar chart. Bring back up the chat. Cool. Create a bar chart of the genre using analyze distribution, include the values, either the counts or the percentages. So make sure to have those over the bar. Take a screenshot of the output, include a short write-up of the 3 largest genres. And yeah, if you include a write-up of the 3 largest genres, you are good to go. So just make sure to talk about the 3 largest ones. Pretty self-explanatory there. The next one, create a pie chart, and we're going to do it of MPAA, which is the rating. Include a short write-up of the movie ratings and their counts or percentages in ascending order. So when you think about ascending or descending, ascending it means to go up, and descending means to go down, to like descend a mountain or to ascend a mountain. So you're going to start with the one with the least amount and go to the most amount. So if this was my graphic here, and it was something like, shouldn't have closed that. If this was the graphic and this was like people who pass versus people who fail, we might say something like, and there's the fail right there. The pass is the larger portion of the pie. We might say something like, we're doing ascending. So we would say 25% of students failed the class. That's so horrible. And 75% of students passed the class. Really, the percent of students who usually fail my class is around 5%. I get to see the numbers. So only about 5% of people fail the class. Don't be in the 5%. Don't do that. Talk to me if you have problems. Talk to me if there's issues. So you know what? It's okay to fail a class. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying you should. Maybe Brian failed a class or here while he was in high school and college. I wasn't beyond getting an F in a class. It's better to get an F than to cheat. So we need to talk about these in ascending order, going from the smallest to the largest. That's what we do. And let's look at that last one right here. So the last one is to create the histogram. And I think this is where people are going to have problems. This is the one people are going to make mistakes on. And I can go into more detail today, but when you look at this right up here, the first thing is to talk about the shape. So the shape, let's pull it up. It's number 4. Got that memorized because we're going to that one a lot. Bing, bing. So here's number 4, and we talk about this a lot through those. Like if you're in here, remember, you get to choose what we do. So people can be like, let's talk about the homework. Let's talk about new material. Let's talk about coding. You get to pick what we do. Just say, hey, Brian, can you show me about this? Can you explain this? You get to pick office hours. Your call. And so you talk about the shape, and then you talk about the center and spread. We have a lot of color coding. Watch the previous office hours for help with those to see what steps do we go through to talk about the shape, center, and spread. So the first thing you want to identify is the shape of the histogram. And you don't put in bullet points like I did. I've seen a few people who did that. I wouldn't suggest that. I'm just kind of doing it as like a breakdown of the topics. And so next I would go and talk about the appropriate measures of center and spread, and I would talk about them in context of the data. We've talked about that a few times. It's going to be one of these right here. So many documents. Here we go. So here's where we went through the median is the 50th percentile. If we're lucky, remember how to go forward in time. There we go. That's how you go forward. That's the last thing I have in here. Here's the interpretation for the median. And people ask, I'll do the IQR, but what else are people thinking? So hopefully, Alexander, this makes sense right here. But make sure to mention the numbers in your write-up. You want to kind of walk someone through what the median is. You don't just say the median is this. You would say, if we bring up one of our many, many jump data sets we have open, let's see right here. So we have, there's a pie chart, there's a bar chart. Where is a histogram? That's on that screen. Oh, that's a power. Man, we have so many graphics. Here we go. Really? There we go. So the median for this data set is 82.7, which tells us that the 50th percentile of file downloads was 82.7 megabytes. The 50th percentile for file downloads was 82.7 megabytes. The IQR tells us that the middle 50% of file sizes have a range of 105.985. The middle 50% of file sizes have a range of 105.985. I might say the IQR is 105.985, which tells us that the middle 50% of file sizes have a range of 105.985. So you're basically telling someone what it means. So I think hopefully everyone's good. You notice I'm mentioning the numbers. I would have talked about the shape right there, which the shape is going to be, this is a unimodal. It's got one mode right there. Unimodal right skew, right to the high, left to the low, distribution that has a lot of outliers and some extreme outliers that go as high as 2,469.64. See, I'm mentioning the numbers. There's a big gap in the data that looks to be around 1,500 to 2,000, or you can hover over and you can tell the number. So from about 14 to 18, you have to be exact. I'm doing like I've taught this class for 10 years right up. So here's what I would say fully. I'm not going to give my interjections between now. Remember, I've taught this class for 10 years. This is a unimodal right skewed distribution that has some mild outliers and some extreme outliers. There is a gap between these two groups of outliers, starting about at 1400 and going to 1800. The most extreme outlier in the data set is 2,469.64 megabytes. Due to the extreme right skew and the outliers, the proper measure of center would be the median. The median of 105.985 represents the 50th percentile of file megabyte or file download size in megabytes. Due to the extreme right skew and outliers, the proper measure of spread would be the IQR. The IQR represents the 50th percentile. Oh my gosh. The IQR represents the spread of the middle 50% of the data, which ranges from 39.025 to 145.01. The IQR is 105.985. So, points. Kayla, do you have any 320 questions? We haven't talked 320 in a while. Sarah's checking out those points too. So hopefully that helps people with understanding how to do the write-ups, and everyone has really awesome write-ups, but that's how we do it. So a good 15-minute talk on how to do write-ups right there. Just make sure you're mentioning the numbers, make sure you're very clear, you're walking someone through. The big thing, just to kind of talk about 320, we don't do this stuff by hand. So if we have some data, like let's say we have this data set right here. Let's go ahead and look at the IRIS data set. That's the one I uploaded yesterday, and I uploaded this for people, right? Yep. Let's do a whole new data set here. We're starting from scratch, 320, and 201 just turned off the video. They're like, no, but check this out, 201. You ready? So I'm going to load in the IRIS data set into the brain of R. What does this look like to people? What program does this look like I have open right now? Like, everyone knows this in 320 when I say this. I'm sure 201 knows too. What program does it look like I have open over here in the background? What program? Looks like Jump, doesn't it? It looks like Jump. And Jump looks like what other program? Looks like Jump. Looks like Excel. Looks like, right at him, it looks like any just spreadsheet software. Like we do this in 201, we do this in 320. And watch this. If you're in 201, you'll be like, wait, coding is that easy? Or hopefully you think that. So what do I put right here, Adam, to get, so you see it's showing Iris, which is the data frame. So I could even view the data frame like this, but how could I get one of these columns right here? How could I go in and grab a column? Ooh, Adam knows right there, $sign. So as soon as I type a $sign, it starts to autocomplete. And it lets me take one of these vectors right here. So we're going to get supple length right here. Do you have any recommendations for how to practice coding R for the class size? It's difficult for me to keep with the switching back and forth. Yeah, during class live, I might just take notes. It's going to vary from person to person. If you have two screens, which not everyone's going to have, Kayla, I would put me on one screen and then I'd have R on the other screen, and I'm practicing on DataCamp. And I think the more you practice DataCamp and then attend class, you just have to hear things like 3 or 4 times. The biggest thing, because Adam, you've coded before, right? Coding is all practice. It's just practice. You have to hear things like 10 times. Like, I've learned so many different things with coding that I forget. I've forgotten more things with coding than I know, because if I learn something and then I don't practice it, I forget it. It's like, think about like learning a song on the piano. If you learn like 10 songs in 1 week and then you don't practice them, like how many songs have I learned to play on the piano? Probably hundreds. And then I know like I've memorized like 20 songs. I really need to go buy a piano before I forget all my songs. Oh, my Rondo a la Tarka is so bad right now, I bet. But you have to you have to practice. Once you stop coding, it's easy to forget stuff. Yeah. And the things you shouldn't forget, like the $ thing, like this needs to be instantaneous, which you use it so much. I've been using Daycamp and I have some experience in C++, and I know practice helps so much. Exactly, Kayla. And that's exactly it. So during class, whatever works best for you. If you have two screens, that's going to be the pro way to do class, which I know not everyone has two screens. And I know some people are laptop situation trying to figure out still. And I totally understand. It's really tough. It helps to have good resources. 2 monitors is a blessing. So it's a decent investment to get 2 monitors. You are so welcome, Alexander. Anytime, man. Ask any questions you have. We're just kind of riffing right now on, pro tips. But the things you should know instantaneously, and Kayla, ask these questions now. I have two streams. What would taking notes during class be better? Put comments on it. Like so here's a really great tip. You ready? Don't write down anything I write down. Don't worry about, because I'll post what I do. So don't worry about going through and doing all of this. And I add some comments to what I do. Don't worry about writing down what I write down. And if you want, I can send you the notes from the other class, because I do different things. Like if you look through here at like what I do in each class, what I do for each class will vary. It's kind of based on just like, let's just, I go through the notes, but I don't like say I don't have set examples. Like yesterday, are you in yesterday's class or today's class, Kayla? Because we came up with a game yesterday called Guess That Number, and we did a kind of a more advanced thing. So it was kind of neat. You can play Guess That Number. And okay, so we're going to start here with $30,000. Is number 2? Whoa. I just got it. So we made up this game yesterday, Kayla, called Guess That Number. And I can send this to you if you want. Or maybe I'll post it in, maybe I should post it in both sections. It might confuse people if I post both sections. But it'd be like, can you send me the code from yesterday or whatever? First try, all right? What is the number now? So it does a logical check. That's something we're going to talk about right here. This is stuff you should know instantaneously. Logical checks are things we should know. So you see how it said you got it? It checked to see if the random number generated was equal to my guess. And my guess is saved right here. So you see when it says guess that number, it's running read line. Then it's inputting it in. Which code is that? Which code? I'm trying to remember which quote it is. I don't know which quote it is, Alexander. But we could walk through this right here, Kayla, if you want. But especially during office hours, Kayla, come to office hours and ask questions like you're doing right now perfectly. And I'll slow down all the code, and then we could go through specific things. So let me ask this, Kayla. What do you want to talk about right now? Kayla, you got the board. Kayla's in control of the board right here. What do you want to talk about, Kayla? 100%. We did some 201. Let's talk about coding right here, 320. And what do you want to talk about with 320? You say like, explain this. Go into more detail on this, and we'll do a whole talk on that. You can check out all the quotes, Alexander, with, was it quote 49 yesterday we made up? I think we got to 49. We started until we end on time. Except when I end 2 minutes late. If you want. Yeah, let's do a jump on today's class. Yeah. So this is yesterday's notes. So we could kind of go through what I talked about yesterday, what's really bad is some don't we don't add that to the quote. I talk about so much about how I start on time, end on time, and then I messed it up yesterday. And no one said anything, which I guess is good, right? No one said anything, which I guess is good. I went like 3 minutes over, and I was like, we still have like 2 minutes. And people said, no, we ended 3 minutes ago. I was like, oh no. Okay. Let's go through each line of code. You ready? What does, I know, first I tried to, I've been, for almost 20 years, I've been doing the same times at UT. For almost 20 years, we've had the same class times. And then the world changed and class times changed. Yeah, I was really confused too. Man, it's craziness. Okay, so what does line 1 do? We need to, when we see code, we need to talk through what it does. Let's put a comment here on line 1. We'll make this bigger. What does line 1 of this code do? Like, you need to read this as a sentence. The more you can just read it like a language, the better you are. So line 1 does what? This is 5. We know what 5 is. 5 is, let's guess this number. Assigns the 5 into 1, exactly. Assigns 5 into 1. Assigns number 5 to x, exactly, or into x. I was saying 1. It's capital X technically. And I think, yeah, you guys saw it right there. So it's assigning that into the brain. So when you see this right above my head right here, this is the brain right here. And I can clear out the brain at any time, and now my brain knows nothing. There's nothing in my brain. But I'm going to take this 5 right here and save into, I call it save into, but it is a sign. I guess that is how more coders talk, like a sign. I say save because it's one word, and then into because it's left arrow. One thing I shouldn't show you is that equals also works. Don't do that. We don't do that here. So save into right here. Chadwick Boseman, we miss you, man. When we say print to the screen, you can just type X and that'll print to the screen. That is the same thing as printing to the screen. So anytime it just comes back to the screen, equals what you use in Java, you think? Yeah. It's the same thing as like equals to assign a value into something. And so if it works, you can use equals. You can. I don't use equals. So what do you notice right here? What am I trying to highlight that this code does not work? Like this code does not work. This code does work. What are we highlighting right here? What is the key concept we should know that when I do something like Brian and I say hello, and then I say Brian and it says hello, but if I say Brian, it says that. Case sensitive, that we should know. These are key concepts. So we're just hitting upon key concepts right here. Like if you have memorized that it's case sensitive, you don't have to worry about coding all this. But the way to practice it is to make these errors sometimes, to be like, okay, I'm typing Brian. Oh, and the autocomplete shows that it's lowercase, like capital B and then lowercase. So instantaneously we should know it's case sensitive, and I'm hitting Control or Command Enter to run the code. So it is case sensitive, very, very important right here. I already did the Brian example here. What does this command do right here? What does RMX do? What does RM stand for? You see, it even tells you a little bit about it. So we've got multiple arguments. I have no idea what all these arguments do. It's like, what environment are you doing it in? And so it's remove. Yep, RM stands for remove. You can also, if you're ever confused on what something does, you can go here. I think you can actually hit F1, is it, when you're highlighting? There's another way. People always tell me like another one. I love it. You can just type RM. Sure. Question mark RM. That should do it. Yep. Remove objects from a specified environment. So, you can use remove. So I didn't even know that. That makes sense right there. Cool. All right. RM is the quick version of remove, but I did not know that till I pulled up the help feature that it says RM and remove. And then it goes through the different arguments and talks about them, and usually shows you an example down at the bottom showing you how to remove certain things. Like there's the RM temp. They made a vector 1 to 4, and then they removed the temp vector in the global environment. So just practicing these things and knowing what they do is very, very important. At this point yesterday, we talked through kind of how to do quick commands. So we were talking about quick and easy stuff you should know that helps you code faster. You can highlight portions of a code and hit Control or Command Enter, and it'll run that portion. You can click anywhere on a line, and it'll run that portion. Now, here's a huge trick. This is, Adam, I don't know if you know this because I mention it sometimes, but if you click something, like double-click something, and you open up a parentheses, it'll put that in parentheses. So if you have something highlighted and you do a parentheses, it'll put that in parentheses. So it's a huge trick. It also works with quotes. I don't know any hacking stuff. I want to make a HackerMan screen. If you guys have seen Kung Fu, no, what is it called? What is that movie called? It's got HackerMan in it. I can see it. You guys got to remind me what the movie is. Can you explain how to measure the center spread on the histogram? Yeah, let's do that next year. Let's do that. And then we'll pause right here. So can you explain how to measure the center spread on the histogram on the visualization? You bet. Let's do it. I think I knew that, but not from you showing me exam-like calculus that does that with parentheses too. Yeah, and it's a huge help that if you have something that you want in brackets or if something you want in curly brackets, all you have to do is highlight it. So sometimes I'll have an issue like if this was not, let's say we have right here, and we want to put this into curly brackets. I can go right here and do curly brackets. And you notice I just entered square brackets, isn't it? Curly brackets. There we go. Will this run? Hello, I broke it. All right, we'll pause right here for a moment on 320. Caroline has a question about, can you explain how to measure the center spread of the histogram on question number 3? So what are our two measures? What are our two measures? Not 3, but we got this. What are our two measures of center? What are the two measures of center? What are the two measures of center? What are the two measures of... I know I put that graphic here. Here we go. What are the two measures of center? What are the two measures of center? We have two measures of center that we use. There is modality, the mean, median, and mode are the three things you ought to know. Talked to Mr. C last night. I'll have to tell yesterday's class that. We might do a collab. Thank you, Mr. C. He emailed me back super quick. Like, I think I'm quick. He emailed me back in like 5-10 minutes and like went to our YouTube channel. I was like, holy mackerel, dude is faster than me. I'm jealous right there. What are our two measures of center? What are our two measures? Let me drop Mr. C's YouTube channel in the chat. You guys can check him out. Gotta remember to really appreciate him. That's not him. There we go. I am shocked that he has so few subs because he's really got a great channel. So here's Mr. C. There we go. That's his YouTube channel. Got some really great memorization videos and stuff for a bunch of mathematics and science stuff. So check out Mr. C's YouTube channel if you want in the chat. So what's up, PJ? Good to see you here. What are our two measures of center? I need someone to help me out because I do not know them. Even with this really great visual display on the screen, I have no idea what our two measures of center are. 320, this is a good review because guess what? This comes up in 320. I'm not joking, 320. You'll need to know this too. So 320, when we start talking about associations, we need to know the two measures of center that we use and when we use those two measures of center. So we got the mean, median, you got it, Adam, right there. And so what is the big differentiating factor? Like, how do we decide based on which one to use? Great job, Alexander, right there. So how do we decide which one to use? Like, when do we use the mean? When do we use the median? Because his video does a great job on talking how to find them. Exactly, Adam. You got it. The main thing is skew. And you'll notice right here, we've got highlighted in yellow the mean and the median. And you can see the mean is the average. So it's just you average them all up. How skewed it is. Yep. So what determines skewness? When we talk about things, skewness is going to be determined by the what of a distribution. Skewness is going to be determined by the what of a distribution. Skewness is going to be determined by the what of a distribution. Like what category is skewness under? Skewness is under what portion of the talk that we give. Oh man, I don't know what's that. So skewness, under shape. Yep, under shape. So when we talk about the shape, you see how we have skewness right here under the shape. And if you notice the color coding I have, just so I can show you everything, the color coding on this shows that the median and the IQR are associated with skewness. I guess I should have made this red also. Let me make this red to help out the color coding right here. There's red, wrong red. And this should be, I lost my mind. There we go. So, no, you're fine, Alexander. So we do it in this order. We do shape, center, spread in this order. Because when you go through shape, shape is going to determine these next two. Does that make sense? When you talk about the shape of a distribution, it's going to determine the proper measure of center and spread. So if you are saying that it is a symmetric unimodal distribution that does not have outliers and gaps, what will be the proper measure of spread? If it's a symmetric unimodal distribution that does not have outliers and gaps, what will be the proper measure of spread? So listen as you hear me say the words. It is a symmetric unimodal distribution that does not have outliers and does not have gaps. So if you can cheat, because now I'm saying, what is the measure of spread here? So what would be the measure of spread for a symmetric unimodal distribution that does not have outliers and gaps? Yep, and then the measure of spread, Kayla, you're 100% right. It's going to be mean and standard deviation as a pair. But remember, standard deviation is the measure of spread. So you're 100% right. Mean and standard deviation go together, and standard deviation tells us how far out things are spread. Does everyone notice right here, standard deviation is like a distance things are away? Like the IQR is a distance. That's why I have this little like back and forth on these, because the standard deviation tells you the distance things are typically from the mean. So when you think about standard deviation, you got it, Alexander. It's just practice, man. You got this. Because when things are skewed, you're down here. When things are normal, you're up here. And then notice how centers are these, spreads are these, and spreads are going to tell you distances things are apart. I would suggest either taking a screenshot of this. Here, I'll vanish. Boop. I would suggest either taking a screenshot of this or writing this down for practice to make sure you understand where these line up. Like if you go across here or if you go down here. So this, I think, is a very good just knowledge we should have. You can even see the outliers and the gaps right here, the gaps and the outliers. Is this making more sense, Caroline? You'll walk through and kind of bring someone knowledge of the spread of the distribution. And if you go back a little bit in this video, I go through it. Yes, Caroline, so good to hear that. Check out the first 10, 15 minutes of this video. And if no one has any other questions, I can go back through it. But check out the first 10, 15 minutes. I go in detail about what you should write up, and I'll be marking that in this video later. I think I'm getting gray hairs. Looks like gray hair. Gray hairs make you sneeze. I've got a mute button. I can mute myself. So what other questions are there? Hopefully that makes sense, but I go into like exact detail on what you need to write. I think Alexander found that helpful earlier. We might hop back to coding, but if you have a question, let me know. The for loop stopped, the while loop stopped. So Kayla and everyone, and tool one, ask questions. It's be like, hey Brian, I don't get this. You're welcome, Carlin. So stuffy now. So we could talk advanced stuff. I don't want to talk advanced stuff. I don't want to confuse anybody. What is this? What is this? No, I don't think any did any due dates get pushed back a day, PJ? Which class and which assignment are you talking about? The My Pearson is due tonight. I caused some confusion yesterday when I sent out an announcement saying 1 p.m., but I meant like I'll be working on it at 1 p.m. But I definitely I got a few emails like, hey, Brian, I didn't know that. Ah. Thank you, Alexander. I hope so. My beard is already gray. Got a bunch of like, check out the time when Brian had a beard on this channel 1 year ago. Almost 1 year ago. Time just flies by, everybody. Time needs to stop. Stop doing what you're doing, time. So what is this right here? My 320 folks, what is this? This is a function. The things inside of a function are arguments. Arguments are basically instructions. So what does this function do? It joins these things together in a vector. So if you notice, I can take argument 1, argument there. I can just put numbers in there. That's how this function works, is it's going to say join these things together and then store into, this is not part of a function. This is just a store arrow like we used earlier, stores into things. And then it's going to store into this variable right here. It's going to store into the variable, what is this? So what is going to happen when I run this line of code? What will occur? Like the more you understand what occurs when you run code, the better you get, because you should know what you're creating. You should be like, okay, I need to do this. And so what's going to happen when I run this line of code? Any ideas what will happen when I run this line of code? Any ideas? What will happen when this line of code is run? I'll give it a moment for people to think it over. But when I run this line of code, we should be like, oh, it's just going to take this and then blank this into this. So it's going to take this. This is a vector of numbers. And it's going to then, with these numbers, assign them into the what is this variable. Whoop. There it is. We've now assigned into what is this. Blank spaces are just blank spaces. So that's the name of the song I was singing yesterday. Someone says, what's your favorite song? Blank space. So we have the vector 231 inside of the variable, or the variable what is this is the vector 231. So who knows what is this plus what is this? Does anyone have any idea? What is this plus what is this? What is that going to be? Who knows? I need 3. It's going to add the 2. Yes, Kayla, that's totally what it's going to do. So what do you think we'll get mathematically when we do this? Great job, Kayla. Let's throw another 5 points to the viewers right now. I'm trying not to destroy the point economy this semester. But I'm trying to remember if you're watching live. Kayla, you're 100% right. Yep. And so that's the thing. You understood what this did before I ran it. That's the goal. The goal is to understand, like what does code do before you run it, because then you know why you're coding it. Because if you have no idea what that does, it's like, well, then it's you're like, well, you don't know what to code. So we know that we have 2 vectors being added together. So we're good on this. We are good. We were talking about functions and what functions do. Little Taylor Swift, exactly. So this was when I was creating a function yesterday to help people understand how functions work. One of my favorite things to talk about is my nephew Tolliver. And I wanted one of these days, I'll have to listen to that cover by I Prevail. I want to help him out with his multiplication tables because he's learning them. And it's really easy to do a multiplication table in R. You could do this, like your 9 times table like that. Oh, I didn't put the multiply. So there's the 9 times table. So with this 9 times table right here, what if we wanted to, I wanted to make a times table for Tolliver, but I wanted to change what the times table is. So I'm going to make a function right here for Tolliver that he could ask for any times table up through 10. Does this make sense? He could ask for his 5 times table and it would display this. Is this okay, he's going to tell it a number and then it'll tell him the times table for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this right here and then we're going to write fun for function. And we're going to say times table. So we're going to save a function into this object times table. Does this so far make sense? This is just like a blank. It's like a container for it. It's like, here's the function container, and it's going to be saved into this thing called times table. So it's going to run this right here, but what do I want to change every time this function runs? What should what should be changeable via this function each time? Augment means to make bigger. We're not augmenting it. What is the thing that's going to change in this function each time? What would change in this function each time? This is advanced stuff, Caleb, but if you get this down, you'll be good for the 5. Nice job, Jamie, right there. The 5. Let's call this number, and then let's go up here and put number, and now our function will work. So does this make sense now that whatever Tolliver puts in for number will be what we return down here? We just need to put a return around this. Return returns whatever you have at the end of a function. It ends a function and returns it. If you're taking 474, this will get you ready for 474. So when I go to times table and I type in a number, it'll give me the 5 times table, the 9 times table, the 3 times table, whatever I want. All it's doing is just taking this and applying it inside of here. What if I go here and do the following? How many arguments does my function take now? How many arguments does the times table function take? How many arguments does the times table function take? This is really good knowledge. I think building functions helps you understand how they work. It takes 2 arguments. So now, he might wonder, what's the 22 times table? So he wants to know the 22 times table, and I say, well, let's just start out nice and easy, Tolliver. Let's go to the 4 of it, because then there's only going to be 2-digit numbers. So here's this 22 times table, and you'll notice right here it only gives you 4 numbers of it. So it gives you the first 4 numbers. But watch this. We're going to do one more thing. This is super important right here. Because if I don't have this and I run this, it'll get mad. So right now, there's no value there and it gets mad. But if I put the following, what is going on now? When I put that in the function, what have I set for this function? I've set a what? Something is there no matter what. Like, even if someone doesn't put anything, it'll put that there as what? So I think you know that a lot of people know this world. Like, this is the blank for that function. It's the blank value. Good guess right there. Good guess, Kayla. It's not a limit. It's like if somebody does not put a value for end, it'll assume this value by the... if you think of it and you type it, you'll remember it more. You're like, oh, that's the blank value if no one puts a value. Default. Nightmare, nice job. Nightmare, you're in our class? Good to see you here. You're right. Love it. I love it more when people get stuff who don't even code. And it's like, I don't even code. Like, if you don't code, I'm honored by people who get stuff. Like, watch and get it. Nice job, Nightmare. So I like that. Like, Nightmare. You know what? I bet there was a knight who called themselves that. If you went back to medieval times, he's like, I'm Nightmare. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So that's the default value. Will my function run right now? Oh, you're Nightmare. Well, great job, Alexander. 201. Oh, no worries. No worries. The function runs now because both values have a default. Does this make sense right here? The function runs now because both values have a default. We've had a lot of random guests on our YouTube channel during office hours. I miss Calzone. Where's Calzone Tyrone at? We've had another person. We have two kind of common guests. One of them likes to do hacking stuff, and we tell them no. They say like, oh, I love to hack, and we're like, don't hack. Don't do bad hacking. So does everyone understand why my function right here, the times table function, is running? So the times table function is running because both of these have default values. Sarah, you are just... We're going to have to make new... There's a point tier up to 5,000, but Sarah doing an amazing job. I need to look at the points. You know what we said? Who wants to look at the distribution of points right now? I know, amazing job. Does everyone want to see what the point distribution looks like? Should we analyze that real quick? Because I said I might do that during 201 yesterday. PJ wants to look at that. Let's look at that. Okay. Let's hop to space. And let's look at the distribution of points in class right now. Hopefully I don't break anything. Okay, let me go to... Okay. I figured out how to do this. There's a way to download the currency. This might take just a half second right here. I know people want... I want to see it too. So this is going to just take a moment right here. Edit. No. Okay. There's a way to do it. Okay. It's like... There's so many buttons on this thing. Too many buttons. Localization. Currency. Oh, that's just the commands. 2 seconds. If I don't find it in another minute. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think I found it. I think I found where it's at. Here we go. I found it. Export currency CSV. Got it. Okay. Currency CSV file being created. It's in the downloads, it says. Let me get this. And I need to remove names from it once we get here. Downloads. Currency. Got it. I found it. I don't know how to do things. Okay, so we're going to do this. Cool. File. Save as. Mu points. Okay. Okay, so I called it mu points. It's a CSV, right? Okay. Let me open up a new, let me close this off. Okay, let me go new, R script, mu read.csv. I called it mu points, right? Oh, got it. Okay, let's hop back. Okay. I've already got the points in here. Let me make sure class is not over. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't have the names. That's good. Okay, you can see it now. So we should... Sarah, just amazing job. Let me, wait, I just pressed the extra credit button. Extra credit. I forget I have some buttons on here. So here are the points right here. You can see the distribution. Let's see here. Where's Sarah's points? Sarah, did you view your points recently? So Hayden's looking right there. Look right there, Sarah. You are the number one lead individual in the class. You are the number one. What do you think's going on with this individual right here? What do you think is going on? Can anyone take some guesses? It's probably what's going on right here and what's happening. Like, why would someone have that many points in only 3 hours watch time? Why would someone have won the Kahoot? Exactly. So you can look at the huge jump you have from winning the Kahoot right here, the Kahoots, and you can see where people are at. We'll look at the distribution of this in a second right here. We probably need to remove the zeros. So we'll talk about how to do this in a second here with our code, but let's go ahead and make a histogram of this. So we're just going to go here to hist, mu, and points. Must be numeric. Ooh, so we need to convert it. So we're going to go to mu $points and as dot numeric. Does it have things that didn't take as numeric? NAs were converted by default. Oh, sure, whatever. Okay, here we go. There's the histogram, and it's a very right skew distribution. It's extremely right skew. We can add more breaks to this, which will change. What is the bin width right now? 201, what's the bin width? You should know bin width like that instantaneously on this. You should look at this and be like, bin width is this. Boom, got it. This is a good end of class right here. It's a good review of yesterday. We're doing inside of R, so it's 320 related. Bin width, you should know instantaneously on this. How wide are those bins? 500. Nice job, Caleb. Boom. Bin widths. Got it. 500. Nice job, Kirsten, right there. We're going to go to breaks, which adds in more. This is an argument for the function. We're just going to go to 5. I don't like that. That's bin width 1,000. We're going to go to 15. There we go. Okay, I like this much better. It's hard to see the outliers, but you can see where a lot of people are at. You know, this is kind of good right here. The maximum is 3,000. We're a little over a week in. And if you think about, if you extrapolate out from this, you would need to go 6 times. So probably midway through the semester, all up here, we're going to be at max points. But there's a lot of people at 0 right now. Let's do this. Let's remove the people who have 0. So what we're going to do here is go to mu points equals 0. And these are all the people who have 0 points. I think it's sorted them by order of points. So you can see these are all the people who have 0 points. And now I'm going to ask this. 320, what have I found now? What is this code done now? Because these are the people who have 0 points. What does this code do right here? 320 or 201. This code finds, let's put it here, finds people with 0. What is this code doing right here? This exclamation mark is something you should know. It does a very quick and easy thing. Finds people with So I asked, do people have 0 points on line 4? That found the people who have 0 points. But by putting an exclamation mark, what did I do to it? Because these are people who probably are from last semester. Like, I didn't remove people, but I have no idea. But does it just adjust the code to remove? So what this will do is, it doesn't take them out of the histogram. So this will flip it for those, because watch this. 2 equals 2. That tells me that 2 is equal to 2. But what does this do now? This will help. Does everyone see the difference right here? That in the first one I'm asking is 2 equal to 2. And then what does the exclamation mark do to the trues and falses? Exactly. And then, exactly, it's flipping it. So this is finding, the first one finds the people with no hours. The second one finds the people with not 0 hours. So does this make sense right here? Actually, I could have found the people with 0 hours. I could have gone here and said, let's call them no hours. So these are the people with no hours. It's probably an easier way to do it. So these are the people with no hours. If it says true on this, then if it says true, these people have no hours. Like person 993 has no hours. Does that make logical sense to everybody? That if we go to person 993 all the way down here, because it's actually in descending order, if we go all the way to 993, they have no points. Excuse me, they have no points, not no hours. They have no points. Person 993 has no points, probably people from last semester, so we're going to remove them from the distribution. Wait, which person am I? Good question, Alexander. We could maybe find you. Check your points really quick. You have a 930 points, so you're up here somewhere. You can see your ranking. This is probably one of you right here. So, and you have 6.75 hours. I'm guessing you're one of these 2 people right here. You are, Alexander, you are in the almost top 20 of my points right now. You're in the top 20. That's amazing. So we got a lot of top tier point getters. Someone else had 740. So you're around here right now. So Kayla's checking her points. Kayla, you're at 630. Kayla, you are over here. You're almost in the top 100. There you go. As people are like, where am I on your points? Where am I on this point scale? That might be you there, right there, Kayla. Hey, that's awesome. Just think about the work you're putting in. You're going to get your full bonus, and we might even make some more secret tiers as the semester goes on. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to the vector of points, and we're going to remove the people with no hours. So can you not do that? Good, you can do that. Oh, then let's do that. Cool. Oh, and there's an NA? Huh. Oh, wonder why they have NA. So here's the points. These are the points. And I'm okay. This is how many people who have, this is kind of neat. So what do we learn from this? This semester, we've had 781 unique viewers on YouTube. You need 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. And there's a secret 5,000 level, and we'll probably put a secret 10,000 level. You know, I might even do that today. There'll be secret levels, but there's so little extra bonus that they probably won't make a difference, but we're going to do secret levels. The truth is 3,000, but then there's secret levels because we might have some people just doing some awesome bonus. And, you know, hey, why not? And then the next one will be, these are like the extreme levels in Pokemon Go where like I'm trying to get to level 50 and it's like, it's just insanity. Oh, wait, was there a question? I think you missed a question. Can you explain the visualization work that we would put for the histogram, how to determine the measure? Did I miss that? Did it not appear? We're getting close to, where did I miss? Hayden, I'm so sorry I missed that. What should we put for the histogram and how to determine the measures? Yes. And definitely because we're close to ending, we've got 3 minutes. And I'll put timestamps in this video, but definitely check out, we did it about the first 10 minutes of the video. We did it, and check out about 20 minutes ago. And you know what? Here, we can talk about that right now. So we're going to talk about that with this distribution. So let's bring this up right here. And thank you so much, Kayla, right there. You know what, Kayla? Let's add another 10 points to everybody. I really appreciate, I was probably like changing screens or something. I'm practicing my commands right here. Let's add another 10 points to everybody. So, see, I'm learning the commands. Okay, so what we're going to do right here, let's just call this data. Now, can anyone explain why Brian wrote line 6 right here? Yo, what's up, Jason? Oh, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it. We're looking at all the Mewbot points right here. We just got some craziness. This is actually me right here. That's me. Sarah, you're catching up to my points. So what do we have right here? So good to have you as a mod. Yeah, we got new stuff, Jason. I'll show you some new stuff at the end. Why would I write this line of code right here? Why would I write this line of code on line 6? What is it doing to this vector I created right here? What is it doing to this vector I created? It's just doing what? What is it doing to that vector? What's up, Charlie? Oh, yeah. Charlie, so good to see you, man. Still guys on the recommendations. It's just creating a vector of it. You see right here, this vector, it took all of this information and just stored it into something I'm calling data. So it's making it nice and easy to work with. So now when I want to work with this thing, I could find out the mean points right now. And we need to do na.remove equals true. And you see, here's the mean points someone has right now. So let's think. We are a little over 1 week in. We've got 15 weeks. Some people might make it to the, and but there's a lot of effort at the start, but that's the mean. But which measure of center should we be using? Can you go with that? Too large. Oh, it might work. Which measure of center and spread should we be using? Oop. The answer I think is pretty good right now. It doesn't like that NA remove. I think it's mad about that. So let me do breaks equals 12. What is it getting mad about? Which measure of center and spread should we be using for the points? Which measure of center and spread should we be using for the points? And it's the answer here is going to be pretty obvious. Which measure of center and spread should we be using for the points? Which measure of center and spread do you think we should use? Median and IQR. Great job, Kirsten. Because this is a unimodal right skewed distribution. we got one outlier right here. We know who that outlier is. And then we got one outlier over here behind my head. And there's some gaps right here between the data. So we know that we use the median in IQR when the data is right skew or skewed, has outliers, has gaps. And so definitely median in IQR. So hopefully I'm not getting sick. Is this making sense right here? And it's kind of neat to see the points and just see where people are at. I know that we've had 731 people come by and visit the channel and get some points. Good way to track like how many viewers you have this semester so far. Any other last questions? Fun data with the MuBot points. If you want to find the median, watch this. You know what? There's that one observation that is NA. So I'm going to go here to data is.NA data. And this will tell me if it is NA. The one is not NA data. Okay, we're good now. Same thing. Median data. Really? NA.remove. There we go. Here's the median, and here's the IQR. There is the median. Insert coronavirus memes. So here's the median and IQR for the data. And you can find the mean or other things, but you can see the median. I wish we could put a box plot right over this. We can get a box plot pretty quickly. We just go here to box plot, and we do box plot of data. There's the box plot, and we do horizontal equals true. I don't like it that way. Horizontal equals true. There you go. There's a box plot of the data. There is what the distribution looks like. And so we see that the median is right here at 395. And you could say, there's so many things you can do. Main, isn't it not main? Title. Should be. Yeah, it is. I just hate when it doesn't autocomplete. We could say MuBot points so far. There we go. It's a little bit of graphics inside of R. And what am I doing by putting a comma right there? What am I doing by putting a comma right there? What am I doing by putting a comma? Each comma makes a new what? So 320 should know this. We'll end here in like 2 minutes. Kind of. So you can, they could all be on the same line. Good guess right there, PJ. They could all be on the same line. So each comma separates out the different whats. So I could have everything on one line. This would just make it really hard to like read everything if it was all on one line right here. Usually I'll put, you can just separate them out by doing enter right there, and it makes it a little easier to read. And each of these is a new what. Like every time there's a comma, everything right there after a comma is a new what. It's like a new instruction. We call it a new, because we might not have any 320s to about, we call it a new argument. So it's like, I want to make a box plot of the data. I want it to be horizontal. I want the main, which is the title. Main is the argument for title. I want the title to say this, and then I want the color to be purple. So I'm just giving it new instructions each time. Every time there's a comma, it changes what instruction I'm doing. Does that make sense, PJ? Put on some music right here. We got a bunch of new stuff. Let's go right here to... What is... Sure, why not? Sounds like Western almost. Let's hop over here to the main screen. It's that time again. End of office hours time. Great work today. Any last questions? Lots of new improvements, Charlie and Jason. Thank you so much for the positivity. You're part of Stat Nation. Any other last questions before we head off here? You teaching class again? 201. I'm still learning my schedule. I've got a ton of reminders on my phone to be like, class. I'll say it. Classic line. Is anyone here? Is it just me? If not, bye for now, everyone.